Today in our 2012 Toyota 4Runner, we'll be installing the Derale Combination Cooler, part number D15902. Now to begin our install, we'll first go ahead and open up the hood, and we're going to remove the top fascia cover that'll go between the fascia and core support. This has multiple pushpin fasteners that'll need to be removed. To remove these pushpin fasteners, we'll simply pry up on the center of the fastener and then remove it completely. Next, we'll start removing the multiple fasteners to undo the front fascia. There'll be fasteners that secure the top of the fascia, inside the wheel well, and underneath. Once we remove all these fasteners, which will be bolts and pushpin fasteners, we'll then go ahead and pull out on the wheel well to release the fascia from the fasteners underneath. Slightly pull back on the fascia enough that we can reach inside and release the manufacturer's electrical wiring that runs to the fascia. We'll remove the fasteners that secure the lower rock guard. Once we remove the fasteners, we'll swing the rock guard down and remove it from the vehicle. This will expose the lower engine compartment. Now we'll go ahead and set the cooler in place. Using the bracket and self-tappers provided with the install kit, we'll go ahead and set our cooler into position and mark where we'll need to secure the brackets. Then we can use the self-tappers to secure the brackets directly to the cooler. Then we'll take the self-tappers and secure the bracket to the core support. Now with our upper two brackets holding the cooler in place, we'll need to modify the lower two brackets. Using a simple pair of pliers, we can go ahead and modify and bend the bracket as necessary so that we can secure the cooler. Then secure them to the cooler and front bumper structure. Now with the transmission cooler mounted, we'll need to check the inlet and outlet of the manufacturer's cooler lines as it runs into the radiator. Once we locate the manufacturer's transmission lines that'll go into the radiator, we'll locate the return side. The return side will be cooler than the pressure side. We'll use the return side to run in line with our new Derale cooler. With this application, we're also going to be using the Derale Fluid Control Thermostat Kit, part number D13011. This will allow for a standard vehicle warm-up up to 180 degrees before the fluid will start routing through the new Derale cooler. Let's go ahead and set up the new fluid control kit. With the kit will be an install bracket. We'll go ahead and mount the bracket directly to the control thermostat. We'll go ahead and find a suitable location and then mount it. Some applications it may be necessary to pre-drill the holes before securing it. We'll go ahead and pre-drill our holes and then use self-tapping screws to secure it to the back of the bumper structure next to our new Derale cooler. Now with the thermostat control mounted, we're ready to start routing our lines. To make it easier to install the new hoses over the cooler nipples, we'll go ahead and take some transmission fluid and coat the end of the nipple for lubrication. Then we'll work the new hose onto the nipple. To secure each one of the hose ends, we'll use the worm gear clamp provided. We'll slide it up into position and then tighten it down. Quick tech tip, note to be careful not to over tighten the clamps as you can break them. Then we'll take the other end of our hose and cut it as necessary before we route it into the thermostatic control kit. The thermostatic control kit will have a threaded end with a barb fitting. The barb fitting will go into the new hose. Then we'll thread it into the thermostatic control. Now, once we have it tightened down, we'll go ahead and secure it with the worm gear clamp. We'll repeat the same process with the other side of the 3/8 fitting for our transmission line. We'll cut our hose to length, then repeat the same procedure for securing it to the thermostatic control. Next, we'll install the barb fittings on the other side of the control. We'll install the new line onto the thermostatic control. And route it to the manufacturer's line, mark the length, and cut to fit. Now we have both hoses ready. Cut to length. We'll go ahead and install the clamps. We can go ahead and remove the manufacturer's transmission line as it comes out of the radiator. We'll pull the manufacturer's line off and slide the new hose on. Once we work the new hose into place, we'll go ahead and repeat the same process with the other side of the line. Pulling the old hose off and sliding the new hose on. Once we have them both in place, we'll go ahead and tighten them down. Now, with both lines installed, we'll go ahead and secure them as necessary with zip ties, checking all of our clamps to make sure they're tight. Next, we'll go ahead and start routing our hoses to connect to the power steering system. We'll install the lower hose first and then tighten it down. To make room for our hose, we'll go ahead and use a rotary cutoff tool. Cut out a section in the plastic so that we can route through the plastic to make the connection with the manufacturer's power steering cooler line. We'll be using the second half of our Derale Combination Cooler in line with the manufacturer's power steering cooler system. The second half of our Derale cooler has 1/2-inch fittings. However, the manufacturer's side is a 3/8 fitting. So using the Derale 3/8 NPT male to 1/2-inch barb fitting, part number D15713, in conjunction with the Derale 3/8 NPT female 3/8 barb fitting, part number D98105, we can reduce the size of the line coming from the cooler, matching with the manufacturer's 3/8 line. Let's go ahead and put our fittings together first. Once again, we'll use thread tape to seal the two fittings together. The thread tape will go over the threads to help mesh the two threads together for a nice and tight seal. This will help to assist to prevent leaks. Then we'll take the 1/2-inch side of our new fitting, put it into the 1/2-inch hose and secure it. Next, we'll take a piece of 3/8 line, install into the other side of our new fitting, secure it with the hose clamp, and then route the hose over to the manufacturer's power steering cooler. Next, we'll go ahead and repeat the same process with the other 1/2 inch nipple coming from our combination cooler. Once again, we'll take the 1/2 inch line, slide it onto the cooler, and then secure it. We'll route the line through our cutout and then cut to length. Here we can go ahead and install the second fitting that we just created with the 2 Derale adapters. We'll then again use the worm gear clamp to secure the fitting to the hose. Using our power steering fluid as a lubricant, we'll put it onto the end of the fitting and then slide the fitting into the hose. We'll go ahead and check the length of our 3/8 line that we ran previously to match up to the manufacturer's cooler line and prepare to install it. Mark the length and cut to fit. We'll remove the clamp from the manufacturer's line, slide it down and out of the way. We'll then go ahead and remove the line and install the new 3/8 line onto the manufacturer's fitting. We can go ahead and take the manufacturer's line, remove the clamp, install a new hose clamp, take the manufacturer's line and route it directly into the 3/8 fitting we had just installed on the new cooler. Then we'll go ahead and tighten down the clamp. Next, we'll go back and secure the new hose onto the manufacturer's fitting with the worm gear clamp. Then we'll go ahead and secure our lines as necessary with the black zip ties and cut off the excess from the zip ties to clean up our install look. Now, with all our lines installed and secured, I recommend to go ahead and start the vehicle, bring up to operating temperature, and check for leaks. Once you've verified there are no leaks, you're ready to reinstall the underbody, front fascia, and panels. And that'll do it for the install of the Derale Combination Cooler, part number D15902, in conjunction with the Derale Fluid Control Thermostatic Kit, part number D13011, and our barb fittings, part number D15713 and D98105 for your 2012 Toyota 4Runner.